Synthetic pesticides and fertilizers can contaminate surface-level water as runoff from fields. Research suggests that close to 90% of water and fish samples near agricultural fields contained harmful contamination levels. Just in the USA, 23 different pesticides were found in water streams. What's even more alarming is that pesticides were found in more significant urban water streams than rural ones. This is a direct result of chemical wastes from households in urban areas. The contamination is not limited only to surface water but seeps down to the groundwater level as well. A study conducted worldwide by USGS, which included 43 US states, found at least 143 pesticides and 21 chemical compounds in the groundwater. This represents a significant problem, as groundwater reserves can take years to decontaminate, if not decades altogether. Plus, the procedure could be prohibitively costly and prove challenging to complete in case of large groundwater reserves. Removing these harmful chemicals from the soil involves mineral acid use, ultimately leading to the destruction of the soil pH balance. Another way in which pesticides harm the soil is by killing beneficial microorganisms in it. Just as the indiscriminate use of antibiotics in humans leads to tolerance buildup, these synthetic chemicals have a similar effect on the soil's capability to provide nourishment to plants. An interesting fact that researchers have discovered is that even though pesticide use increases yields in the short term, yields can go down as much as half in the long term. This should help to put things into perspective. Since the time of the Industrial Revolution, pesticides and industrial chemicals have been polluting water bodies. While massive use of such substances requires getting the required permits, it cannot be denied that a certain degree of environmental harm always accompanies industrial activity. When water is contaminated, this degrades aquatic organisms' quality of life, and humans dependent on these water sources. Such contamination is the result of multiple factors. Timing is one of the crucial factors that determine the degree of water body contamination. Weather and soil conditions determine whether the pesticides will drift on the soil or wash off into the water bodies. Simultaneously, cracks in the soil also contaminate water streams, which lead to the transmission of contaminated water to all connected water sources. It evidence that pesticides are not only entering the human body through food but water as well. The degree of water contamination also depends on the application methods used for pesticides. In general, pesticides can be applied through both aerial and non-aerial modes. Of these, the aerial way is faster and considered more effective. Spraying aerial pesticides often cause the chemicals to drift towards water bodies following the wind direction. As a result, this method of pesticide use can lead to greater levels of water body contamination. Careless and inefficient disposal of pesticides can also lead to water contamination on a large scale. When pesticides are discarded in greater concentrations and through loose nozzles, this can lead to accidental spillage. Such contaminated water harms not only the natural environment and animal life but also crops. The evaporation and subsequent condensation of polluted water lead to harmful acid rains, severely damaging crops. Thus farmers get caught in a vicious cycle, in which they harm the very crops they were trying to protect.